I saw a glance at the clock. It was almost time for breakfast to be served, so I put the book away, got dressed, and headed to the dining hall. Sax was already there when I arrived. Good morning, Sax. I sat on my usual spot at his side. Hi, Nerus. Were you sleepless again last night? How do you know? Sax closed his eyes and gave me a huge smile. Well, last night I got woken up by ruckus in my room. When I opened my eyes, you were there. Oh, I thought I saw someone going down the stairs last night. I was worried it was an intruder, so I decided to check on you. Really? That sounds spooky. I did not find anything. The windows and doors were all locked. It must have been nothing. Unless someone walked in, that is. I thought I'd omit that detail to avoid distressing Sax, but I was able to tell from the look in his face that he had reached that same conclusion on his own. Are you serious? See, now, I'm going to be paranoid every time I have to walk the corridors alone. I would not worry too much about it. I would not allow any misfortune to befall my warper. Phew. What's up with the flowery speech? Well, as you must be aware, as a great shapeshifter, the sound of the door opening interrupted my train of thought. Seth was in the dining hall, pushing a cart full of food. Don't you want to eat with us, Sevels? Sax asked him when he was laying the trays on the table. Oh no. I already had my breakfast while cooking. I see. Thank you as always, Sevels. No need to thank me, master. Enjoy your food will be more than enough gratitude. Now, if you'll excuse me. Breakfast transpired in silence for a couple of minutes, during which Sax seemed to be lost in thought. He wasn't talkative while he ate, but I noticed something was bothering him from his stiff expression. I was considering asking him what was in his mind when his eyes met mine, and then he turned to me with a smile on his face. You know, Nerus, you should eat more than just meat. Huh? What do you mean? Every time I see you eat, it's always meat. According to mortals, you need to have a balanced diet. Uh-huh. Oh, don't uh-huh me. Here, have some of my vegetables. And give me that steak to make it even. Who do you think you are to take my meat? Just kidding, but do eat your vegetables. Thank you for your concern. I have been doing fine with this diet for more years than you can count. I do not think it even matters what we eat, unlike mortals. But in any event, I thought he would ask why I was staring at him. Perhaps he did not notice after all. Anyway, you're unusually loud this morning, now that I think about it. Well, it feels like we took a step in getting closer yesterday, no? But if it bothers you, I can tone the goofing around down. No, it is fine. Things do feel more lively this way. It is a nice change of pace. By the way, Nerus, how do you plan to make good on your promise? You know, the nothing bad will befall me business. Who knows, perhaps I will put you on a leash and take you with me everywhere, only letting you roam free when you have to work. That way I can always keep you close to me, safe. How does that sound? Whoa, sort of quite jokes, huh? Although you sound as if you're being serious if you say it like that. Is that so? I'm sorry. I do not make much of a comedian. Oh, don't worry about it. Although if I want to keep you always near me, I suspect I would not even need a leash. Sax stared straight at me. Before long, he lowered his head and started giggling. Oh, that was funny. It's just because you said something so embarrassing. I see. But you know, maybe it's not a bad idea. You want company because you're still creeped out from what I told you earlier. Am I wrong? Maybe. Well, do as you please. Sax did do as he pleased and followed me to my study after breakfast. Unlike at the table, however, he tried He tried to not be very noisy while I worked. He browsed through the bookshelves, picking up whatever he found interesting before sitting down to read. Although the day progressed quietly, I did find it warmer than usual by being in the company of another, compared to the days where it was me alone in the study. But as I observed Sax, I started feeling pangs of guilt. Sax, is this all you do in your free time? Sit down and read? Huh? Yes, why? It just occurred to me you must be getting tired of not having anything else to do. Sax looked up from the file he had been reading through. He had been reading through, right into my eyes, wearing that grin of his. It can get a bit monotonous. I tried to get several to play games with me, but every single time he gave me the that's no proper behavior for a servant line. He waved his hand and rolled his eyes. That's severals for you. What about you, Nerus? Would you like playing sometime? I know some games that are popular among mortals. Fine, we can play after work. Oh, that was easy. Afterwards, I tasked Sax with delivering supplies to cover our bases. Since I finished work before he returned, I decided to go way out the parlor. As I was getting up from my desk, something caught my attention. Sax had forgotten to return the file he had been reading to itself. It was lying on the chair he had used. I would have to reprimand him for this. I can't have him cluttering my study. What is this? I grabbed the file and read the label on the spine. The red banner. Must be a file I forgot to move a long time ago. It doesn't ring any bells. It seemed to be about some old house in some faraway world. How odd. Maybe I will ask the other Great Sisters about this later. I put the file away to its rightful place, and then I made my way to the parlor. Sax about a few minutes after. If I understand this right, the objective of the game is to buy and upgrade properties in order to lead the competition bankrupt, yes? Correct. It's your first time playing, isn't it? I'm not very familiar with mortal games. Okay, then I'll try to go easy on you. You do not need to. I insist. Let's make this enjoyable for both of us now. It doesn't matter. See, you learn fast. This is the first and last time I go easy on you. Sax had a couple of lucky rolls that cost him landed in several of my properties in a row, leaving him no choice but to mortgage his own in order to pay. The game was over. It is not like this game has complicated rules. It is mostly lucky you ask me. It's still fun, however. I also got a couple of card games. What do you say we try one of those next? Of course, sounds interesting. While we were putting the board game away, Sax looked up at me and asked me a question. So I'm curious, why Nerus? Is that what the close friends call you? No, it is a nickname I came up with on the spot. That sounds just wrong. Who knows? Perhaps someone I used to be close with nicknamed me that I happen to unconsciously remember it. But in that case, it doesn't sound like something you will forget, or at least be unsure about. When you're as old as me, you cannot help but forget some things. I barely even remember our birth by now, despite being present for it. By which I meant that I didn't remember it at all. I would know some of the other Great Sisters were still able to tell that tale in detail, but not me. You do sound like an old man at times. That's not a proper way to speak to your elders. But, does that mean you will forget about me eventually? How can he act so cheery? How can he act so cheery while asking that question? Who knows? What do you plan on doing once I and the other Great Sisters agree that you have redeemed yourself? Are you trying to change the top on me? Not at all. Just answer. I haven't given it a lot of thought, but I would be happy staying here and serving you for the foreseeable future. Are you sure? I'm not aware of the details behind your situation before coming here. But once you become free, you will not be affiliated with your family, and you will be able to find work as a warper. You could go anywhere you wish. I already moved a lot when living with my family, so settling down doesn't sound too bad. Besides, the company here is great, even if the place itself is gloomy. I suppose I won't be forgetting you for a long while. You got a point. Can't forget me if I never leave. I didn't feel like I just invited you to stay here forever. But if that's your choice, then you are welcome to stay for as long as you wish. Thank you, Nerus. By the way, I've been wondering, what is that? After a couple of games of cards, Sax looked up and pointed at something behind me. It was 4 bottles stored in a rack hanging from the wall. I examined them. The paper was faded, but I had a faint memory of what was supposed to be inside. It didn't take me long to remember. That's wine. I see. I haven't had any spicy grape juice for the longest time. What do you say we share a drink? Spicy grape juice. The wine, silly. Right, I don't mind. Let me retrieve a bottle. I put a card I was holding down, got up, and walked up to the wine rack. I felt rather off. I had forgotten the bottles were here. The bottles were there before Sats pointed it out. How strange Savills just left them alone. Well, I suppose wine doesn't expire. But how long have these been here, really? As I continued racking my brain, I grabbed one of the bottles, 2 glasses, and returned to Sats. Where's the corkscrew? I forgot. I can always improvise, I suppose. I don't need it. I stood my index finger and stirred it against the cork. Sats watched with eyes wide open as my claw pierced it, and then I started pulling it out. However, I put too much force into it because the cork just split in two midway through. I clipped my tongue and finished pulling it out with my fingers. Oh geez, I thought your claw would come off. I'm not that fragile. It's more like no one's as sturdy as you. An unexpected smell stopped me in my tracks and I began reaching out for one of the glasses. I brought the bottle to my face and gave it a sniff. A pungent, acidic smell invaded my nostrils. What's wrong? I don't think wine's supposed to smell like this. Let me see. I handed the bottle over to Sats. He gave the top a couple of sniffs. He tilted his head to the side, a curious look in his eyes. Smells like vinegar. Perhaps I put it there by mistake. No, this is definitely a wine bottle. I think you just forgot to drink it from long enough. It turned to vinegar. I squinted at the bottles. That can happen? Yes. The other bottles look just as old, so I'll assume we shouldn't drink them either. You weren't joking about your memory, huh? I'm afraid so. When everything remains the same, sometimes it all blurs together. You start noticing details. Don't let it get to you. I was hoping to ask you some things, but maybe it would be best if I didn't. No, go ahead. The more the conversation progressed, the more uneasy I got, but I didn't want to deny his request. I could see in Sax's eyes that he realized this, but by then I had noticed he was sharper than his airheaded tendencies would lead you to think. Perhaps he didn't want to let the conversation end there either, or his curiosity got the best of him, but he decided to go ahead with his questions. Understood. Where do we start? Sats crossed his arms and leaned back on his chair, those green jewels staring right into my eyes. First, have you considered asking Savills to renovate here from time to time? Maybe it would help not lose track of things. If not, I'll consider it. Okay. I know you don't go out often, but do you work out at any point of the day? While my ears twitched at the question. No, I'm muscular by nature, I suppose, so I don't see the need. I figured you enjoy working out since you were so far wrestling, and since your psychology has an impact on the way our true forms manifest. I expect someone of your build to be a gem rat. Curious, I have only ever seen of a psychology being used in mortal media. But what does gem rat mean? A gem rat is someone who likes to go to the gym a lot. Living among mortals for so long ends up making you pick up some of their vocabularies. I see. Next question. I hope you don't mind this one, but what is your earliest memory? I am not sure about that, but I believe it is me bringing those white flowers here. Yes, while my old warpers was with me, the flower upon my hands emanating a faint glow. It's very vague, but I remember it. I see, and what is your happiest memory? That question gave me a pause. I glanced to the side, trying hard to remember, but I don't know. I felt my shoulders drop. I lowered my head, still attempting to find something that fit that description, but all I could recall was empty monotony, alongside the occasional frustration. There were moments of respite when I enjoyed the satisfaction of work well done or appreciated the quiet of that misty old house. But there wasn't anything there that struck me as happiness, or if there was, I had forgotten it. I had always been waiting. Nerus? Oh, what is it? May I touch your paw pads? Well, it felt nice to touch your hand yesterday. Was wondering if you'd let me do it again. If you wish so. I extended a hand to Sax. He took off his gloves and then leaned closer, perhaps a bit cautious of my claws after my display from earlier. With his little fingers, he inspected the tip of mine, squeezing the spots of black, exposed skin. Watching him do this alongside a smile on his face as he fiddled with my hand, I saw the feel of calm washing over me. I put my worry from earlier aside and enjoyed the sensation so much that in fact my eyes started closing on my own, let out a pleased grunt. I was about to doze off to Sats caressing my palm when his voice brought me back to reality. Nerus, I got another question. I opened my eyes. What is it? Your eyes, can you make them blink independently? Of course, look at this. You closed them all at the same time. Damn it. No, I did not. Pay more attention. Here it goes again. I tried to give Sax a wink, but indeed, I just closed all my eyes once again. I felt my expression contorting on its own, and my cheeks and ears getting hotter. Max must have found my expression very amusing, considering he exploded into laughter. Sorry, I didn't mean to make fun of you. I swear, a slight smile appeared on my face. Even if I had been about to become frustrated, his laughter would have changed all of that. Just like his touch earlier, his voice was soothing. My shoulders relaxed as I reclined on my chair and watched him have fun. Why does Sats sway me so easily? This does not happen with other people. If someone else tried to have a talk with me like this, I wouldn't give them the time of day. And the way he makes me feel calm. Am I starting to fall for him? A few days later, I decided to remain at the dining hall after we finished supper. Sats had wished me a good night and went to bed while I stayed in my seat, grasping my hands together. I wasn't confident about what I was about to do, but I couldn't bear keeping this to myself any longer. I needed someone to talk to about these feelings, but I couldn't do that with Sax. And there was only one person in the house besides him. "How was supper, master?" The sage-center asked as he cleared the table, wearing a calm smile. He was placing the plates and utensils on a serving cart. Splendid as usual, Savills. I wanted to bring it up then, but it felt like something was stuck in my windpipe every time I thought about it. So I didn't want him to go away, so I kept saying whatever else came to mind. The food at Great Sage-Center's gatherings is excellent, but no one knows my taste as well as you. I'm glad to hear that, master. In fact, do you try anything different with the meat today? I did, master. Ah, how odd. I could have sworn there was something else to it tonight. The knot in my throat was getting unbearable. My nostrils were flaring from how hard it was getting to breathe. And it must have been reflected in my expression too, because several saw my unusual look. I need to talk right there and there. But the moment I opened my mouth, all my thoughts came down like rubble from a tower being demolished. From that pile of rubble, I was able to salvage 3 words that I immediately regret uttering. Sex tasted nice. My apologies, master, but I'm certain there was no sex meat in that dish. No, I didn't mean to say that. Oh, in that event, it seems what you need to say pertaining to sex more than me, it would be advisable to go to him instead. Oh no, you're not getting out of this one. Severus, take a seat. That is an order. With the table now clean, Severus was about to grab the servant cart and flee into the kitchen. But his prior servant wouldn't allow that now, disobeying direct order from the master was out of the question for him. I knew because we were bark cut from the same tree and perhaps the same archetype, and Severus was a sturdy piece of bark. That was why he was the only one to remain while I fired the other servants. I took a deep breath, resting my elbows on the tables as my hands intertwined together, and pointed at one of the chairs near me with a nod. Severus sought the dishes and contemplated a look. After a couple of seconds, his arms went limp, slipping off the cart's handle. He was quick to swallow his discomfort, however, as he recovered his normal posture before he sat down. Now all that was left for me to do the same and talk. Well, Severus, I want to talk. Evidently, master. You do not need to say anything if you do not wish, but I need to get this off my chest. I have been having these thoughts lately about sex. Despite the icy wind that permeated the entire house, it felt like the room was getting hotter and stuffy. I reached my shirt's neck and pulled from it. I think I'm attracted to him. I don't understand why. I don't know what to do about it. It makes me afraid. Once I started, I felt like I couldn't stop. And Dan broke, released all my thoughts, one after another, in an unstoppable stream. I don't know. I'm not blind. I can see he's attracted to me, to a degree, but what can I give him? I'm just an old man that rarely ever sees the light of the day. I can't remember what I used to do for fun, if I ever did anything of that sort. He would inevitably get bored of me. The other day, remember the wine bottles? Of course, master. I lowered my head, squinted. We opened one, and at first I didn't remember they were there. He pulled them out, and since the paper was faded, I didn't know what they were. I recalled it was wine seconds later. I grabbed a bottle, opened it, but inside there was vinegar. Vinegar? Yes. Then we opened another one, an unsealed one. What do you think was inside? Wine? Dust. That was just inside. I let out a long groan and brought my hands to my face, rubbing it as if I was afflicted with a headache. Sarah was guarding me, mouth hanging open. I heard his tail drag across the floor as he shifted on his seat. What have I been doing all these years? It's almost like I just woke up from a dream, but let my hands fall on the table, closed my eyes, and let out a long sigh. I suppose that's all I needed to say. You can go now. Sarah stared at me for an instant before getting up. He pushed a chair under the table and went to the servant cart. Before grabbing it, he turned to me again and cleared his throat. May I say something not as a servant but as a fellow safe-sitter? The request made me raise an eyebrow. Of course. About sex, I believe you are approaching this from an incorrect angle, master. As safe-sitters, well-beings without an end. We need to either change or find a vocation to devote ourselves to in order to combat the erosion of our mental faculties by the flow of time. Sax is young. He has yet to be faced with this choice, but he should find out what sort of safe sitter he would rather be. and find what kind of safe shifter you wish to be as well as you find your current situation is unsatisfactory. It's important you are on the same page. Yes, you are right. We've been impossible to coexist a long time if our philosophy on how to deal with our immortality not match. Not to mention with him being so amnesiac, it's possible he has a different outlook on this topic. Keep in mind there is a chance there isn't an answer to this question yet. In that case, what we have been doing so far might be all you need to do. I'm certain Satch is grateful for the kindness you have shown him, and he won't forget it anytime soon. Maybe there's something else I can do for him. Settle tilted his head to the side, the suspicious look showing its head again. Do you care to elaborate? I've been thinking about the situation with Satch's family so late. I imagine you are not aware of the details, but it does not matter. What it boils down to is that a dispute broke between them and Constance to play points on them would soon spiral out of control. I see. Maybe there's something I can do about that. Now it was settled that looked like the room was getting hard for him. He gave a few steps in place as he glared at me, mouth open, tongue pushing against his upper row of pointy, crooked teeth. I can't tell you what to do, Master. My very position surprised me as it's right, naturally. While you're absolutely certain you should meddle with this, I should be careful, I understand that. It's a sensitive issue for Sax. I sat straight and crossed my arms as I started devising how I would tackle this issue. I would need to talk with Sax to determine what had caused the problem with his family, then approach his parents next. After that, I could start figuring out how to fix this. I was convinced Sax wasn't the kind of person who would normally have this kind of fight for his own blood, so there was a mistake waiting to be corrected. Still must have figured this was what was going through my mind because he shook his head and resignation took a hold of the serving cart's handle. If it isn't a bother, I kindly request you keep me updated on this matter, Master. Perhaps you would have more success remedying this situation with some help. I see. I do think talking with you has been very useful, Settles. I will inform you of any development. The servant nodded and excused himself out of the dining hall. I scratched my cheek, looking at the dust floating under the ray of light, and tooted into the post office. Every once in a while, someone entered the building and passed near me, disturbing the otherwise peaceful dust, but it never took long for it to return to its original state. I reclined against the seat's back and looked up. Half an hour had passed since I had arrived. What's taking them so long? The office isn't bursting with activity right now. I was sitting alone in the middle of a row of chairs, watching people come and go with longing eyes. I had tapped the armrest rhythmically, taken off a glove to count the scales in my hand, and played some with my tabard. My patience was reaching its limit. As soon as I saw one of the two employees leave, I got up and approached the remaining one at his booth. A reptile not that different from myself was working behind the glass, red scales, that he wore a white, cheap-looking uniform. This, of course, was a safe shifter, one that had blended up among the mortals here in order to smuggle goods for us warpers. Both this person and I were safe-shifting to better fit this place in my case behind my feathers and changing the color of my scales. I leaned close to the glass. Excuse me, what's taking so long? I'm sorry. I have someone looking for it in the back, but... You can't find the package? The safe shifter bit the bottom of his mouth and shook his head. That's unfortunate. I looked to the side, tapping the wood under me at a monotonous pace. Can I join your friend? We should find it faster together. I don't want to fall further behind schedule. The red lizard sighed and gave me a sympathetic look. He looked at something behind him and then pointed at the door nearby. Go through there and enter the first door after the turn. It should be around 10 minutes before the mortal returns. Thank you. I never waste any time. Following his instructions, I arrived at some sort of storage room, limited by 4 white walls, a wooden ceiling, and floor. Tall cells almost reaching the ceiling, packed full of boxes and paper packages, near all of them with a tag or stuck to them. At the center was a somewhat small table. There another lizard associated was rummaging through some boxes, opening them to check their contents before shaking his head and sealing them again. He jumped a bit when he noticed me. "Hello, Narrow Madness's Warper. Your partner told me you couldn't find my package, so I decided to come to help look for it. I'm sorry. I hid your package in a box here last night, but..." He glanced at the top of one of the cells. "I must have misremembered, I suppose. Misremembered. I thought I hid it in a box on top of that shelf yesterday, but when I opened it today, it was someone else's package. Well, let's search for it together." We repeated the same task he had been performing until now. There was plenty of mail for safe shelters here, but none of it was what I needed. About 6 minutes later, I heard something fall as I was taking a large box off a shelf. Put the box down and looked at the spot where it had fallen. A small yellow package had dropped to the space between the back of the shelf and the box. The paper crackled as I pulled it out. Narrow Madness was written on the tag on the front. "Hey, I found it." "What? How did it get there?" I tried to open the package. Everything seemed to be in order, with one exception. Between all the white envelopes, there was one yellow piece of paper, the telltale characteristic of old paper. I pulled it out and spotted a post office employee, an inquisitive look. "What is this letter?" He shrugged. "How am I supposed to know, mister?" I opened the envelope and read the contents of the letter, or rather, I tried to. The ink had become all smudged, rendering the text unreadable. One of the few intact parts was a name I didn't recognize at the end. Despite the name itself not being familiar to me, reading it brought me a feeling of deja vu. I squinted as I tried to pin down the little detail that seemed to be poking at my memory. My eyes shot open as that little missing piece fell into place. This handwriting. It looks familiar, but... Is something the matter, Mr. Sachs? This is weird, but I still have the rest of my shift ahead of me. I'll try to figure out what it means later. And this wasn't supposed to be in a package, so no one will mind if I keep it. No, everything's in order. I showed the other safety a smile while I closed the envelope and inserted it back into the package, but then I held onto one of my arms. I should be going now. Your mortal co-worker should be back soon, right? That's true. Good luck in your travels. I'm truly sorry about all the trouble. Oh, don't worry about that. See you. I bowed and exited the room before he had time to say anything else.
So long at any of the nobles I visited after Nerus. As usual, I walked into their homes there, danced for them, and turned their correspondence in. After I was done with work for the day, I folded the old letter and put it inside one of my pockets. It already was ruined enough. I didn't care if it got a bit more crumpled. Then I returned to Nerus' mansion. I greeted Severus on my way in, and he said he'd inform the master of my return. We didn't have any plans for that day, so after putting the letter in a drawer, I went to the parlor to read a book. Around the time the great six sister normally was done with work, I heard the parlor's door open and he appeared. It didn't take long for me to know that something was off. His posture was the same as always, ears pointing upward, shoulders wide and pulled back. Every step as it seemed to carry an air of conviction, and so did his closed hands. But his eyes didn't give away a hint of anxiety. He was looking down, not at me, but at the floor, blinking every so often. What's the matter, Nerus? Nothing, Sex. He sat in front of me, across the table. Of course I didn't believe his lie, but I decided to play along. Perhaps it would be easier to get him to tell me by his own volition, rather than asking. We talked about our day. Nerus complained about the monotony of doing desk work, and I told him about the missing package incident. I told him about the extra letter too, to which he shrugged in response. Accidents happen. Accidents is that one happen from time to time. The warper before you once got a package mixed up with mortals. The contents of Mortal's package were peculiar. Peculiar how? The way Center brought his hand to his chin. It was a toy for physical pleasure. The noble he visited after was very surprised when he opened it in front of her. I had to send a letter to clarify it had been an accident and not some sort of message. Now besides, I failed to contain my giggling. Well, I hope I'm not airheaded enough for that to happen to me. How did you even get them mixed up like that? It was mislabeled. I suspected one of the employees of the post office played a prank on him. But as there was some sort of drama present between them, the employee decided to take a little revenge. Talk about pranks. There's something I want to ask you if you do not mind. There it is again. That looked like he hurt someone. What is it? It's about your family. What motivated you to prank them? Oh, that again. Well, you opened up to me, so I guess it's fair I tell you that if you know. Oh, that again. Well, you opened up to me, so I guess it's fair I tell you that if you want to know. I sit there on the couch and held my hands together. Nerus blinked and his ears twitched. I imagine he was surprised I agreed to talk about this right away. It had been a couple of months away. I trusted him, so I didn't mind answering this now. Besides, any other safe-sitter would have given him a straight answer as soon as he posed that question at the Baron's visit. Telling him about this was way overdue. No, I'm the youngest son of my family, right? Nerus nodded. I guess most of my siblings turned out okay, and they figured if they raised me the same way as them, I'd be the same. Me and my siblings help in our operations. We all act the part of a normal royal family. Get close to people, create bonds, and use those bonds to snare people around us into a trap, especially those who are weak and or desperate. My voice was steady as I narrated my family's work as if I was reading off a piece of paper. Now that I was there, besides, any other safe sitter would have given him a straight answer as soon as he posed that question at the Baron's visit. Telling him about this was way overdue. You know, I'm the youngest son of my family, right? Nerus nodded. I guess most of my siblings turned out okay, and they figured if they raised me the same way as them, I'd be the same. Me and my siblings help in our operations. We all act the same with a normal mortal family. Get close to people, create bonds, and use those bonds to snare people around us into a trap, especially those who are weak or desperate. My voice was steady as I narrated my family's work, as if I was reading it off a piece of paper. Now that I was here, it all felt distant, like a dream. I began recalling many faces, wrinkled and youthful ones, tired and gleeful ones, all of which would be filled with wonder before the flame in their eyes was put out forever. The faces of people that needed something to believe in or a helping hand. The faces of so many that got betrayed and killed. But now I wasn't there. I was powerless to stop it, but I wouldn't have to see it happen anymore. What did it say about me that I was complacent with all this treachery, these murders, as long as they were out of my sight? Was I better than my family? Was it evil to ignore it just because I was able to turn a blind eye? Mortals are curious. The weakness of the flesh does terrible things to them. If they are hurt, hungry, or alone, they will buy into almost any nonsense you try to tell them. And the deeper you get, the more malleable they become. You can tear them apart from their friends and family because they have a new family you can welcome them into. You just need to give them hope, a name, and maybe a shape. A god, a saint, a ghost. Anyway,
It's just like us safe searchers. If they can't find meaning for their life, they will cling to anything. And I hated taking advantage of that. Nerus lowered his head and ears. I let out a gasp and waved my hand. We need nonsense, yes. That isn't the part that made me angry. I am a safe searcher. I understand that's all we exist for, but every time we would gather with other nobles and I had a chance to hear what they were doing, I couldn't help but wonder, why did I have to be doing this? Why couldn't I have been born under one of those families where all they do is command farmers? Or why not one of those that gain the trust of mortals by having a positive impact on their lives? Being a farmer myself would have been preferable. Talking to weak people, making false promises and severing them from everything that might get in the way. Seeing their smiles while knowing what awaited them killed me. I couldn't handle being forced to take part in something so terrible, so horrible and cowardly. They kept telling me it'd get easier, that they were just bad to me, and that I learned to see them as such. But it never got easier. I'll never forget when the time came for my first harvest. The great sea sister was looking at me expectantly, ears perked up. However, I lost my train of thought and decided to finish explaining myself rather than elaborating. Anyway, when a harvest happens, that isn't the end of it. The aftermath is just as destructive. And not only because of those creatures. Once we go away, the ideas we implanted them remain, perpetuate those cults, and so we keep weeping nonsense after we are gone, at least for a while. I just couldn't handle doing that again. I did the prank hoping they'd catch me and force me out of future operations, but it got out of control. Since the angel found out somehow, but I can't say I regret it. As far as I'm concerned, that operation being ruined is a good thing. And it got me here in the process. I see. I'm sorry you had to go through that, Sax. I waved at the ear again. There's no need to apologize. I mean, your job is to manage these operations. But my family treating me the way they did was their own choice. Do you try to communicate with them to let them know how? Do you try to communicate with them to let them know how against their methods you are? Yes, they didn't care. Oh. Do you think there's a way you can mend your relationship with them?
I crossed my arms and let out aloud. Nerus's eyes still looked away to the side, lost in thoughts of his own. I shrugged and shook my head. No, that ship sailed a long time ago. I was in deliberation, and this might not be the best ideas. I was once again sitting at the dining hall, talking to several who had just finished picking up the dishes. The servant still didn't let up on his cold facade, but looked more collected than last time. At least he hadn't tried to flee the city. He now sat in a somewhat uncomfortable corset, fastened with his legs crossed, one arm resting on his lap and the other on the table. His mouth cold until his mouth and the stern look in his eyes softened when he heard me say those words. I'm glad you came to your senses, master. Yes, it's more complicated than misunderstanding some of the squabbles I'm accustomed to seeing unfold between nobles. They tend to imitate wealthy mortals, which sometimes means fabricating conflict to keep themselves entertained. Must have assumed Sass's case was similar, as I'm so used to it. But this is something I cannot solve through my usual meddling. Perhaps he got a little bit too excited as well. It's possible. I just want to be a worthwhile partner for Sax. I understand, Master, but this isn't the right way to accomplish that. He kept insisting on this idea and was spoke up against it. I know that it's it's unfitting of my role as a servant, but as an old friend, it wouldn't be right to stand by while you destroy your relationship with Lord Sax. Raise my eyebrows. You consider me a friend, Severals? This is the first time I hear this. Isn't it natural? I mean, our relationship has been purely professional, but it isn't possible to look after someone
for so long I'll get attached. Although I suppose I think like that because I like to surf. Is that true? What's on your mind, Master? I'm thinking back to the other day after finding out the kind of safe shifter I am. And that's one thing I'm sure of, well, would be that I love wrestling. If you're not tired of it, how will I? I don't imagine when a wrestling match and much of a I don't imagine when a wrestling match is much of a challenge for you, is all. In a Domino's case, the gap between you is so large, you know he'll triumph at the end. Does it not bother you always know the result of the match? I cannot say it does. Fighting is about much more than struggling to overcome your opponent. It's also is a way to express yourself. Oh, I'm proceeding a monologue about discipline of fighting as a way to strengthen and nurture masculinity, among other things. By the time I was done, Samuel's gaze was slightly lost. Some sweat was running down his forehead and neck. When I finished, he rolled his face and held his mouth over for a few seconds. Anyway, so he contacted his family. Yeah, assassins. I did. He was mine not long ago. We did not decide a date for their visit. It would bewilder me, but I will have informed them that plan will be postponed indefinitely. The several nodded. It will be for the best. Time marched forever onward. The days, the weeks, and the months passed. Me and Sats kept spending more time together, growing closer. His visits to my site became more frequent. He'd pick a file, read through it, and ask me details about it. He would take one of the books I owned and tell me his thoughts as he read through it. But we didn't always talk. Sometimes we both reimbursed our own tasks, exchanging a glance and a smile every once in a while. We were comfortable in each other's presence. One day we were at the parlor, finishing our book together. He sat, he had sat beside me so both of us could read, and at some point he started leaning on me. I don't think he noticed, but I did. That feeling as though falling up against mine. I realized I yearned for it. It's become harder to adore what I felt for him, but I kept my feelings locked away, not knowing how to act upon them, or if it would even be right to do so. Was I afraid of Jackson? He adored me, yes, but would that translate to him reciprocating my affection? Was there something else that caused me unease? However, that was a turbulent time only for me, but for all safe shifters. For more years than I can count, we have been working under the nose of agents in the Arkansas in order to produce noses in the name of the aeons. Never advance and never draw nearer to our goal. No matter how many souls we purify and different of our efforts and sacrifices that we impose on others. But despite this, that conflict was finally about to reach its next stage.